everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a good video for you today. I have a video on the John Oliver interrogations and how corrupt they can be. Before I get started, please everybody check us out on the YouTube member program. Please check us out on Patreon. Please check us out on Discord. If you like YouTube, please check us out on the other YouTube channel for the podcast, The Real Deal with me, Larry Lawton. And of course, check our merch out, the book, Gangster Redemption. And this is gonna be coming up for pre-orders. These are the famous cigars. It's all over the place now. So you guys are gonna get to see amazing stuff coming up here on our channel. Now we're gonna get into this video. This video John Oliver did, and he did it back April, and what a great video. I had it in my library to do. Let's get right to this video with John Oliver talking about police interrogations.
Confessions are viewed as the gold standard when it comes to an indicator of guilt, as they can apparently be more persuasive than even DNA evidence. Just listen to all these jurors in high-profile trials explain the key evidence that convinced them to convict.
We just felt that no one would confess 3 times if they didn't do it.
What they're showing you in this clip, everybody, is that eyewitness testimony and even jury hearing these things is the most unreliable testimony you could have. They've proved that many times, eyewitnesses. Now, DNA doesn't lie. If I'm here, it matches a specific genetic code that Larry Lawton has, and Larry Lawton will be as known to be in this office. My DNA obviously is all over this studio. Now, the only way DNA evidence is not right is when the people lie about it. And that's the analysts who do the DNA or do the special whatever evidence they found. It could be a dog handler, it could be a clothes expert or footprint expert or whatever expert it is, and they lie. How do you fight that? Especially if you don't have money. See, most of these cases where police can get confessions out of people are usually the uneducated, the people, sometimes the young people, the very young people, and it's a lot of times females, because they just want to get their son back and they get emotional about the whole case. That, as sad as it is, that is exactly what happens. Let's continue.
The more I investigated it, the more I came to believe that he might be telling me the truth. There is not a shred of forensic or physical evidence.
But he confessed.
Yeah, like most people, you can't possibly fathom admitting you did something that you didn't do.
Nobody does that.
Nobody would think they're capable of doing it. But the truth is, a skilled interrogator could probably get you or I to admit we kidnapped a Lindbergh baby.
So you saw that 29% of all the people who were exonerated through DNA literally had their cases overturned, and they were the false confessions were found to be false. I mean, 29%, 30%. That's 3 out of 10 cases. That's a lot, guys. Now you get into, obviously, why can it happen? It's these interrogation techniques they have. Putting people in rooms for long periods of time, denying them stuff, psychological. They come up with all this other bullshit that they can recognize a liar. We're gonna look at that right here.
Look the suspect in the eyes to observe eye movements and physical changes that might indicate deception. If you can't look him in the eyes, watch an imaginary X on the forehead or nose. It's the same effect. Once deception is detected, you know you're on the right track.
Okay, hold on. Was drawing the X really necessary there?
They come up with all of these techniques to show that you're lying. One of them is look you in the eye. Keep pushing. What is this, a challenge with the kids? Doing this. Hands across your shoulder. Crossing your legs after you ask the question. It's telltale signs. There is a reason that lie detectors are not admissible in court. Now, these are lie detectors. Now, we're talking about police interrogators saying you're lying because of some of these techniques. How crazy is that? That they're gonna take the word that this guy's lying because this guy says, oh, I saw him cross his arms, or I saw him do something. Even if it's a obvious thing that he did it on tape. It's another thing they do. They keep you in there for long periods of time. Now, people aren't smart to invoke their Fourth Amendment on legal searches or Fifth Amendment. They're hesitant to do this because they are intimidated. People get intimidated by power. That is just natural. Obviously, I don't think we should. I think there's too much going on in this world right now that we, the people, should start standing up. Yes, the federal government of the United States has got about a 95% conviction rate on cases. And you wonder, how can that be? And why would I ever think they're lying? They have a 95% conviction rate because, first of all, about 85% of those people are pled guilty and they're either cooperating with the government to get that less percent of person that is going to be going to trial. They have less trials in the federal government because, one, they make deals, which is they get, and they make a lot of deals. So they get those convictions, even if the main one guy gets off, and they had 90 other people in the organization that took plea deals. And a plea deal could be anything from probation to time in jail, and that's a conviction. So now, of course, they got a 95% conviction rate. So it's all bullshit. So we have to look at how statistics go before we do that. Listen, I do a lot of these videos, and some people say, Larry, you're wrong. And they can say I'm wrong all they want. Obviously, I read enough law cases in the books to show you that, wait a minute, time out, this can't be true. You, after the case, can get your record and everything that happens, and before you know it, you're saying, wait a minute, this can't be true. And sure enough, it is not true. But what happens? The people fucking confessed and this, and now they get it again. It's just crazy. Think about what I'm saying. It's just crazy. Let's get back to the video.
In fact, the only truly honest body movement that humans are capable of is when someone accidentally walks through a spider web. That's it. Then, and only then, are your gestures completely truthful and void of pretense to the fucking shit. So, thanks to this junk science, police can essentially assure themselves of their own certainties. And if they have decided you are guilty, you're in big trouble, because that is when the interrogation begins.
Getting a statement to see if you're lying and did you do it. That's their initial. Once the cops agree that you did do it, it's going to be very hard to get them off of that. And that's their stubbornness. That's the I'm never wrong technique. Well, you're going to see right here, the interrogations is rough.
Many guilty people introduce their denials with permission phrases, such as, can I say one thing? Would you just listen to me? Because if you let him talk, he'll say the words, I didn't do it. And the more often a person says they didn't do it, the more difficult it becomes for us to get a confession.
Oh yes, the telltale signs of guilt. Would you please listen to me? Can I explain? And I'm telling you I didn't do it.
Oh, it just makes me crack up. Think of what he just said. I didn't do it, officer. You want me to ask you something? I didn't do it. I swear I didn't do it. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what happened. They think you're lying off the bat. That is fucking ludicrous. I don't get how our society has let this go that long.
Innocent people can wind up confessing just to escape the stress of that situation. That was the case with Robert Davis, who at just 18 was suspected of double murder and interrogated for over 5 hours.
What can I say that I did to get me out of this?
You stabbed her, didn't you?
One or two times. Do you think about me telling you this is when we get home tonight?
Tonight?
Today.
Today, I doubt it.
Well, then why am I lying about all this too, just so I can go home?
The guy says he's lying. They don't believe him. Now you gotta remember, this guy obviously doesn't have a high IQ, and it's a manipulation technique. And you know, it's sad to see a person with a higher IQ manipulate somebody with a lower IQ. It's just sad to me. I really believe that. I don't think that should be allowed, or I think it's just a low form of life. At what point are we gonna say, let our humanity get through? At what point are we gonna say, wait a minute, let's stop this bullshit. Let's just stop this bullshit right now, and let's get on with everything. You know, what happens in the prosecution, people don't know this, the defense is supposed to fight as hard as they can, no matter what, whether you know they're guilty or not. You are supposed to give them a legal defense. That's your job. That's your job description. The job description of a prosecutor is to seek justice. Now, seeking justice is not withholding evidence, getting false testimonies, supporting cops that do that. Now, again, I'm only going to say what this is about because what happens is the cops could be wrong, but there should be somebody there's got to be a checks and balance. So if you have a bad cop or a bad person that doesn't like someone and gives you stuff, you as the prosecutor have to be the one that steps in. Obviously, a lot of time the cops and the prosecutors work together, and it's going to be very, very hard to convince one to do it, because they're friends. It's like, you know, I often look at this and say, let's get an outside agency to do it, and let's do it right. And I mean, when I say outside agency, have no loyalty, nothing. to that organization. The minute you have loyalty to that organization, it's no good. I mean, because now you're gonna protect them at all costs. That's what you're supposed to do.
But not having a lawyer makes you incredibly vulnerable because, for one thing, a lawyer might clue you in to an absolutely insane power that police in America have been given by the Supreme Court.
In the United States, a detective can legally lie about the evidence to a suspect.
To hear that cops could lie, which I knew this, for you guys to hear that, and here's what they do. We got a guy inside right now, and he's an eyewitness, and you know who he is, but I'm not gonna tell you, and he said you did it, so I have an eyewitness, so that's one. Now, I don't know how much time you think you're gonna do, but if you come clean with me, you're gonna do a lot less time. I'm telling you now, we have DNA evidence of you at the scene. What do you mean you weren't there? What do you think, your DNA evidence just flew across the sky and went there? They're legally allowed to lie, intimidate. Now, a lot of people out there are gonna say, so what? If you still didn't do it, you say, no, I didn't do it. You know, if you've been on the wrong end of a criminal justice complaint in the United States, and a lot of inner city kids and people who have no money did not have good enough lawyers to win a normal case that a regular person or a person of wealth could get out of, that's where that becomes it. It's both sides understand that, and we gotta fix that. Everybody, we gotta fix that.
I wasn't there. Damn it, Ronnie, you were. You were there. The evidence shows you were there. The evidence shows you. I can't lie about the evidence.
I can't lie about the evidence. He lied as he lied about the evidence, and did it gesturing with all the theatrical nuance of a high schooler auditioning for A Few Good Men.
It's amazing how good investigators are and interrogators are. That is a talent, so I'm not going to take that away from them. And as I say all the time, no matter what, invoke your right for an attorney. Invoke it at all times. You say, I need an attorney, end of story. Let's go, move on. End of story, I need an attorney. First of all, let's get this straight, which people don't know as well. The only one who can offer you a deal is the prosecutor. The cops can't say, well, we're gonna drop this part of it. We're gonna drop this part of the charge. You tell me, I'm gonna help you. He can't. You can have a prosecutor who's got a hard on for your family or whatever it is, and what that guy said meant nothing, and they lied. But that's just lying about what they can do. I'm talking about, how about lying about the evidence itself? How do you lie to these people? The evidence says this, and it doesn't. You know, at what point, who becomes the criminal? I am all for law and order, but I'm all for law and order to be meted out equally. And it is a fact that mostly this happens to is uneducated, lower economic status individuals. Not just Hispanic or black or white. It's usually just more economics, which turns out to be we're uneducated. Sadly, that is the case. Now, not all detectives are like that. I want to say that now. Not all detectives are like that at all. Some of the detectives are really good people. Obviously, I know of some. But some of them are just not built for the job.
All these tactics are incredibly manipulative, and they work especially well on certain people. Research shows false confessions were a factor in 34% of cases in which children were wrongly convicted, and a stunning 69% of cases in which people with mental illness or intellectual disabilities.
Think of that number. 69% of the cases are with disability, intellectual disability. A certain level IQ is considered a disability. I think it might be 60. Now, obviously, 34% you saw was juveniles. Again, you are not. It is a known fact that the male brain does not mature until it's 25. It's not my numbers, it's psychology numbers. So I don't understand, one, how we can put people away for that. And I also actually don't understand why we take people in the military like that. Because now we're giving them a gun and a ton of responsibility, and we know their brain has not formed fully. And that, to me, is crazy. They go up the ranks, and before you know it, they're leaders, and their brain might have just got, mature. Because, you go in the military at 17 years old, which I did. And, I actually got out at 25 years old. I was in almost 7.5 years. So my point to you is this: most of the time, my brain wasn't fully developed. And in my case, I believe that too. I really do. All right, let's continue.
Police are told not to feed you information about the crime that is not publicly available, as it's obviously damning for a jury to hear that you knew details only the guilty party would know. But that happens all the time too. One study of DNA exonerations found that 94% of false confessions were contaminated by allegedly inside information.
94%. Who gave that inside information? Sure wasn't the guy that's going to do himself in. Well, I guess 6% yes, but 94% no, so you got to go with the odds. That's crazy. Who's giving it to them? Cops. You know, you knew, you had the red car and this was a red car and we found the red car. Well, how about the car? Did we find a car? Yes. What color was it? Orange or black? And it's off. But they don't want to get bad information up there. That's the problem. Cops are only looking for the answers that they want. It's like lawyering, good lawyering. Lawyers don't put somebody on the stand unless they know the answer to the question they're going to give. That's a fact.
All the officers that worked in my case, as well as state's attorneys, they've all retired with pension. Full pension. There was no repercussion, no retribution, no criminal charges, nothing.
When cops or prosecutors do the wrong thing, they should be held accountable. Now, a lot of people who are in the business will say, wait a minute. Now you have a case where they're not going to do too much because they're not going to chance their own career if they do something wrong. Obviously, when something is done maliciously, I don't care, the cops or the prosecutors should be held accountable. You can't have a job as a prosecutor, a very powerful position, unless you're willing to take the heat when you do wrong. Now, obviously, I'm talking about exculpatory evidence, taking evidence out of a locker, literally criminal stuff that you'd think, oh my God, well, they didn't have it. It was in a drawer, we didn't know, and they'll have an answer for that. That's wrong. So you can't do that. We can't do that as a society, what I just said. We cannot keep accepting the bullshit that comes out of this stuff, and when they have an answer for it, just say, okay. This is when people get removed. This is when prosecutors get removed. Our own citizenry, the police, the citizens, the guy, my neighbor, my other neighbor, this one, everybody else, they all should take very seriously the ability to vote. And it drives me nuts when we're putting a monetary value on the ability to vote. It's wrong. I am right now living in the United States, they call without representation. I am paying for taxes where my congressman won't see me and doesn't care, so why should I pay taxes? That's how I look at it. We as a citizenry should expect the people we vote for to get in there and do the right thing. Sadly, a lot of these people get in there with the right intentions and they get corrupted when they're in there. And it is what it is. It is a corruption. So before you even say, oh, that you're being too hard on them, or that many criminals, it's hard because we got to define criminal in a different way than the definition in a dictionary.
So what can we do? Well, we should absolutely require all interrogations be recorded in their entirety.
Obviously, they should be taping every confession, and like he said, things can be taken out of context, and that's bullshit. And I agree it's bullshit, so we need to move on. We need to get these things done. If we can't do that, what are we doing? And I mean that, what are we doing? I don't know what we're doing. And we need to, this is just another part of the criminal justice system. People have been asking me a lot, Larry, you've been doing a lot of stuff on the criminal justice system in the jails and the private prisons and everything that's going on. This is my passion, because I hate to see innocent people get fucked over. Listen, I'm not an innocent man. I did what I did. I deserve what I did. It is what it is. I come out the other side. A lot of people can't. But I even can't tell you what it feels like to actually be in prison as an innocent man.
Our misconceptions about police interrogations have been hammered in by crime dramas, and they've been hammered in deep. And perhaps one small way to help undo that damage is for shows to present a slightly more accurate picture of what can really happen in that room.
This fall, meet two tough cops, expert interrogators.
Knock, knock. Obviously, they're doing a spoof, but I have to agree with John Oliver. We have to change this. We have to at least do cameras everywhere. I mean, I'm a big believer in cameras. Not when I was a criminal, but listen, that's gonna catch them. I mean, I don't care if you have a personal problem with somebody, make sure it's recorded in some way or another. And there are all legal ramifications of recording. Usually video recording, not as much. Voice recording is worse. There's actual federal law on this. So make sure you know it, and probably state law as well. So, and I never promote anything like that, which has any kind of illegal, somebody doing something illegal. I don't care if it's just to take off the plate and go somewhere. I mean, you're no better than the citizenry, so nobody should do that. How's that? But everybody, please make good choices. Go check out our new podcast channel, The Real Deal with Larry Lawton, and that is on YouTube. Anyway, we're gonna close right now. Please comment below. Please hit the like button. And if you haven't hit that notification button yet, please hit it. You know, I want them to know that we got a very strong, loyal fan base is what we got. We got people who care. And that to me is very, very important. Never forget that. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Larry Lawton out.